Curious what you see when you watch Trey Lance, because I've said this week what I see is a guy that hits his back foot and he can't let it go, and it looks like he's not seeing things as clearly as he should be. In fact, I saw one, Steve, where from behind the quarterback, it looked like there was a spot to throw it where a receiver could end up being, and maybe he was going there, but he didn't let it go because he wasn't open. And you say all the time, nobody's open in the NFL, although maybe a little bit more now than when you played. But
right.
How tough is that for a quarterback to trust himself and say, I can't wait for guys to be open, I got to throw it? And does it look to you when you're watching him play like he's just not seeing things as clearly as maybe he should at this point?
No, it's not that. I'm really proud of Trey. I'm really proud of Trey because the whole offseason, he has the injuries. He's been jammed up. Brock goes on this incredible run that is a national, international story, and he hangs in there and spends the offseason going and working on things that he's not great at. How many times I watch quarterbacks in their offseason go work on things that they're great at already? Like, enhancing the thing that I'm already good at. What about the thing you suck at? Like, let's go work at that.
Yep.
And I really, not that Trey sucks at stuff, but it's like there's a humility in Trey that I love, that he's going to go work at it. And he's gotten better. He is a better player after this offseason. And I don't know that it's that he's not seeing it. I think what's happened is he's now squeezed, where every throw is a referendum on whether he's any good or not.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have a lot of college or even pro, money in the bank, not literal money, but just that the ability to kind of go out and play and show people what I could do. And so there's all this expectation and aspiration and fear and anxiety and every throw. And now Brock is, Kyle said, Brock's the guy. And now Sam Darnold comes in, and just listen to Kyle. Kyle loves Sam. So now Trey's in the middle of this, and every throw is critiqued, and how much better is he, and what can he become, and who is he? And so for him, I think I've been there, where you every time I go out for a series, something great's got to happen, and all of a sudden, you're not free, you're not relaxed, you're pressing, and you're pressing every throw. And all of a sudden, you're late for a throw, and then you get sacked, and you go down. And you're like, holy crap, how many bad things can happen? So you get into a bad spot. He's competent. I just, and I really believe the 49ers, if Brock wasn't there, Trey would start. If Sam Darnold hadn't come and proven to whatever Kyle's seen that's so excited about, that he would be number 2 and develop. But now Trey's in a spot where he has to go out every practice and try to prove that he's worth hanging in there with, and that's a tough spot to be in. I just wish I wish he could start this week and go play a few weeks, and maybe not. I feel like Trey, we won't know, and I think that Mike Silver wrote something today about not a lot of guys in the NFL struggle with, don't get the opportunity you want. How many guys that I've talked to personally through the years that told me, Steve, I figured it out right when they threw me out of town. It's like I know I sucked for a long time, but then I figured it out right when I had it done. They threw me out of town, and I was like, so the NFL's not for long. Like, it doesn't give you much opportunity, and there's a lot of mitigation that causes grief and causes problems, and so that's what Trey is right now. And so somehow he's battling. I think if you judge him, to your point, Tom, that he's not seeing things. I think he's a good to very good processor.
Okay.
I think he's jammed up, and he's got to be perfect. This is Carson Wentz got in this spot. The kid from Chicago got in that spot. What's his name? It's like they want to be perfect.
Trubisky?
Being perfect. Yeah, Trubisky. They get in their way. They get in their own way trying to be perfect because they want to please. And Trey's that way. He wants to show you every down, and I think it's just kind of a little bit of being overwrought. And I noticed this preseason, people are tracking completion percentage and interceptions and what can we see, who's playing better. And I guess the competition's always that way, but Kyle's going to decide. And it feels like he's already told you where he's headed.
Yeah, I feel like, God, you're talking, I kind of felt like Dr. Melfi, and I had you on the couch and we were uncovering layers.
No.
like going back to when you were playing. And so tell me what it was like when you went out and got that third series against New Orleans. How did you feel? I had to do everything right. It was now the reason
hey, look, you got to go in for Joe Montana. Your ball better move. You don't want to go in and then go to see them. And then,
the ball better move.
Nobody was open, and I really hadn't. There was no one there, and like that, bro. The ball better move.
Yeah. No, I think to a certain extent, like every athlete who didn't come in like as a first-round draft pick who was going to play right away kind of feels some of that. Whether it's exhibition, you feel like, God, I only got 5 minutes. I got to do something. Or guys on 10-day contracts in the NFL, or in the NBA, I got to do something in 10 days. It's tough because the best thing to do is just play the game, but it's like, well, I got to be noticed if I want to keep my job and have a contract and all that kind of stuff. Now, I mean, I get what you're saying, and it makes perfect sense to me. The only reason I brought it up was because when I see him play even last year, I see him and I told Copes this, that like when he drops back, the back foot hits and the ball doesn't come out. Like there's a lot of times where he has some time, but it's not like I got it, boom, let it go. And then he kind of did. Sometimes the offensive line was terrible, but a lot of times he brings it on himself where he holds onto the ball and then all of a sudden he runs around and runs into people. That's the only reason I say that. Maybe it's something else, but there's just a lot of times where it's like, okay, let's be on time. Boom.
Hold on, Tom. Hold on.
Yes.
You just said there's a lot of times. There's not been a lot of times because he doesn't have that many a lot of times.
More than there should be. More than there should be.
A game here, a game there. Like I get that. And what you say in the NFL is you better, especially today, show your stuff quickly because people get, like Zach Wilson had a few games and now he's sitting there watching Aaron Rodgers. Sam Darnold got thrown out of town. Like getting thrown out of town is not that hard in the NFL. And there's a lot of reasons why. And you might be very right. There might be 5 years from now, we might say, you know what, Trey never saw what he needed to see. But I feel like I felt like I felt good about his processing power when he came out of school, and especially in the offseason, that first offseason. I was like, watching him process, I'm like, he can process. But I think the situation has gotten to where perfectionism has been, this perfectionism mindset that's never going to work. And then now all of a sudden the easy throws, a little swing pass. People say, you can't throw those swing passes. Well, come on. I mean, I think you're in your head so much because you want to be perfect. And I think it just gets to it. I'm trying to win a spot that's not available. I'm trying to survive, and I think it causes a lot of kind of emotional grief.
No, I think that makes perfect sense. And let's be honest, Zach Wilson didn't play great, but part of the reason he got his ticket punched was when he threw his defense under the bus. that was not a great look for a veteran.
Steve, thoughts?
Tony reminded of Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson trip to Mexico.
Yes, Mexico.
Yeah, man, come on.
The job is already hard enough. The job is already hard enough. You do not want to make it harder than it already is, right?
Oh, man. Especially Steve. We're talking to Steve Young, undoubtedly, on the Uber guest line, back for his weekly conversation throughout the football season. So you're talking about Trey and being on a team that is Super Bowl or bust, right? It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. We saw this last year. The goal is Super Bowl or bust, no matter who's under center. I wonder about, and I'm thinking back to when you played, and you were trying to win a starting job on a team that's Super Bowl or bust. But if you win that job, you know what the job is. The job is go out and execute. Your thought is, if I get on the field, I can make something happen. With Trey, he's trying to win a number 2 job right now. Where does his mentality have to be? Where does his mind have to be? Because he's trying to prove that he belongs in that spot in this league, but the team has a different goal than he necessarily as an individual does.
He's left a sense that he's not ready. He's left doubts and fears, and coaches and players that's not the place you want to be in the NFL. And I don't know if it's one play like you're talking, Don. I say not many, Tom. There's plenty, though. There's plenty to create an environment with a team that you can smell it when you interview other players, and you can smell it when the coach speaks about it. Like, those guys are in there daily, hours and hours together, and they sense what a guy's got going for him. And right now, it feels like those guys are telling you that it's not happening yet. And so how do you make it happen? How do you create that? Coach, how do you decide? Oh, I'm going to change their minds. Well, the only way you can do it is on the field. And so, a game like last week, when it's kind of a big moment, you can't have at the end of it decent stats, but people saying, "Well, he's not." It's like all this. It's the force again. It's something you can't explain. But you wanted to say, does he have the force? And I think what's happening is you got a lot of people who are deciding these things. Well, you and I, who cares what we say? People who are deciding these things that are saying, I'm not sure he does. And that's the jam that he's in, that he needs to prove. It's to prove the improvable. Yeah, that's a problem. The improvable.
Yeah, you got it.
That's a basketball word.
Whoa,
come on.
Already?
It's not even week one.
I was just going to say a football word. I thought, well, no, let's go deeper.
Yeah, let's go that way. Oh, that is